the creation of a special unit dedicated to strengthening efforts in Texas to catch and prosecute traffickers. Working under the leadership of Assistant Attorney General Kirsten Melton, who's standing right over here, our Human Trafficking Unit has formed strategic partnerships across the state, including with many of you here today. We've teamed with Truckers Against Trafficking and the Texas Trucking Association in an innovative public-private program that puts more eyes and ears on the road to detect and report human trafficking cases. We've assisted or consulted on more than 40 cases to help bring justice for trafficking victims, including the first human trafficking conviction in Nueces County. Over the course of its first year, our special unit has provided human trafficking awareness training to almost 8,000 people across the state, including law enforcement officials, educators, medical professionals, lawyers, and judges. And this November, we'll host our first human trafficking conference for prosecutors, which will help educate them on all aspects of prosecuting trafficking cases. Here's why my office is making it a priority to end human trafficking. Contrary to popular belief, human trafficking doesn't just happen internationally. Texas, unfortunately, is one of the top destination points for victims and traffickers in the nation. Texas has the second highest number of calls to the National Human Trafficking Resource Center, and Houston, unfortunately, has the highest number of trafficking victims in the country. Sadly, many sex trafficking victims are exploited online. Last October, we went after Backpage, the single largest advertiser of adult escort ads, arresting its CEO and raiding the company's headquarters in Dallas. It's sickening to think of the millions Backpage has made off the backs of innocent women and children. Our investigation is ongoing. Today, I'm announcing a new initiative in my office. A training video that will integrate media coverage, expert testimony, and victim impact stories. The video will be a powerful new weapon in broadening awareness of human trafficking and fighting back against these horrific crimes. I'd like to show you a short clip from that video. If you'd please watch the screen.
Some studies show human trafficking is the fastest growing criminal industry in the world.
Human trafficking happens everywhere, including right here at home.
Human trafficking is a billion-dollar industry.
One of the raids happened at 10 o'clock this morning at a massage parlor in the...
Well, this teenager you're about to meet was trafficked right here in Dallas.
We're not just talking about forced prostitution, but forced labor.
Tonight, some shocking allegations against a Katy couple accused of holding their nanny hostage.
Modern-day slavery still exists. It's alive and well, and it's in the form of human trafficking.
This is not a problem that's occurring in one county or one region of Texas. It is something that is occurring across the state, and it's going to require a coordinated state effort if we are going to effectively combat the crime of human trafficking.
And Texas is one of the top destination points for victims and traffickers in the nation.
When we begin to realize that trafficking is kids being advertised on internet websites for people to purchase. It is people who are brought here, and these individuals are being made to work in a field, or they're being made to sell themselves. That's when you realize what trafficking is.
Human trafficking is essentially the debasement of humanity. It is humanity at our worst.
When we go and give presentations, you'll be surprised how many people immediately want to know, well, where are they? Where did you find them? Who are they? What zip code? Well, you know, it's everywhere.
Well, this can happen to your child. I mean, these bad guys are out there hunting for children online.
Just because your child goes to a good school and has good friends and has a stable household, that it's not something also that could happen to them.
The people that you supervise have the ability to make a difference.
I think this film is an opportunity for Texas to stand forward as a state and say that this is an important issue, and we feel that it's so important that we want our employees to be trained on it. We want them to recognize what trafficking is and to be cognizant both in their daily lives and in their professional lives of how they might interact with someone.
I want to take this moment to issue a challenge to every Texan. Ask yourself, what are you doing to fight modern-day slavery? What role can you play in your business, your home, your children's schools, and in your community?
This film is really a journey. It's a journey through the lives of the people who've been impacted by human trafficking, the victims, their families. It's a journey through the lives of those who fight every day on behalf of those victims, law enforcement, victims advocacy groups, people who are serving those victims with direct services.
What is so difficult about stopping human trafficking is how hard it is to see what's right in front of us.
It's also a journey into the lives of those everyday citizens, people who saw something, recognized that there was a problem, and had the guts to stand and report it.
This video will help all who view it understand human trafficking, recognize the warning signs, and know what to do and who to call if they see them. When the training video is finished, which I anticipate will be sometime this fall, it will be made available to all 315,000 state employees. In fact, all 4,000 or so of my employees at the Office of the Attorney General will be required to watch it. I'm challenging my fellow state agency heads to follow suit. Texas is known for its innovation and common sense solutions to problems. Let's apply that Texas can-do spirit to human trafficking. We can all work together to ensure that victims will be identified and rescued, and that traffickers will find themselves behind bars. I'll yield now to our other speakers, and I want to thank Representative Thompson for joining us today and being at my first press conference on this about a year ago. And thank you for coming, and I'll turn the mic over to you. And I'll be back up here to answer questions at the end of the conference.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to say Happy New Year to everyone. I'm delighted to be here and be a part of this magnificent press conference on Human Trafficking Prevention Task Force. This task force has done a lot of great things. I'm delighted also to live in a state where we have probably passed, Senator, I think we've passed more legislation than any state in America, any state in the United States. And that is a signal that we really take human trafficking seriously, and we really want to do something to take a huge bite out of this huge, huge problem. I'm also delighted that we're going to be carrying legislation and passing it this coming session that's going to further enhance the opportunity for law enforcement, for agencies, and for organizations who have a stake in helping us to fight this horrendous problem, to do more about this problem that has been with us for so long, that is a part of us, but we want to make sure that we diminished every moment of every day of our lives in trying to stamp out this big problem. I want to take my hat off to the truckers who came forth voluntarily to do something about this. Thank you so much. They are the eyes and the ears that see things that some of us don't have an opportunity to see. But just to take a position that they want to do something to fight sex trafficking and labor trafficking is a tremendous, would have a tremendous impact on this particular problem. We will also seek to provide the Office of Attorney General with authorities this session, hopefully, with civil investigation demands and the civil racketeering for trafficking cases, and also include other state agencies to the task force membership to promote efficiency and to aid in resolving this conflicting problems that we have. Thank you so much for allowing me to participate in this magnificent press conference. I'm delighted always to work with Senator Huffman, whose heart is into fighting this particular problem, and I know together, all of us working together, we're going to do something about this problem. Thank you.
Again, thank you very much also for having me here today. Attorney General Ken Paxton you're such a leader in this issue. You picked up, when you took office, you got involved right away. And I know I can speak for Representative Thompson and say that she and I have been fighting this, but with your leadership and your help, you have brought us further along this path. So I'd like to personally thank you for the interest that you've taken in this issue. And I'm delighted also to be here today to join you as we continue our fight against human trafficking. As many of you in the room know, we started this journey several years ago, and in the summer before the 84th legislative session, Senfronia Thompson and I headed a task force, and we went around the state and we started hearing testimony and hearing about the needs of some of the people, law enforcement, advocacy groups, victims, and we discovered that there were a lot of missing parts, a lot of missing pieces, a lot of things that didn't fit, and we started to understand that we had been looking at the problem the wrong way. We were looking at a lot of times who we consider to be the criminals, the young women or sometimes young men who were the prostitutes. We considered them the criminals, and as we learned and we got educated, we understood more and more that these were actually victims. And I think from that there became a picture that began to be formed about what really human trafficking is and what it means. And then we came to understand that Texas is a hub, and I don't think there's it's not a coincidence that Senfronia and I are both from Houston. It's because we are the hub of human trafficking, and you know, it's kind of embarrassing for me. I represent a wonderful district, and it's diverse, but there are some really lovely areas. Many of you know the Galleria area around Houston. I represent that area, but just within miles of that area are many massage parlors and many areas where human trafficking is flourishing. And in my opinion, that's just simply unacceptable. So I've continued to work. We passed a lot of legislation early on after that first legislative session. It made a difference, I think. We hear from law enforcement advocacy groups, but now we're continuing on and we're going to push the issue a little bit more. There's going to be several sections to the bill, but a couple of the parts that I think are especially important and tools that we need to have. One, we're going to enhance the penalties for compelling prostitution and aggravated compelling of prostitution. What does that do? Again, we're focusing on the pimps, those who actually are engaged in the trafficking, and taking our emphasis away from the victims, the prostitutes. Yes, they still have to go through the criminal system, but we have many prostitution courts, and we look at it a different way. We will also put some of these cases on an expedited hearing so that the judges will know that we hope that these cases will be heard quickly and that they can be adjudicated quickly. Again, this is a work in progress. As Representative Thompson said, we have to all work on this together. And I talk to people also who don't believe that it's happening right there among them. Many think it's just international victims, but it's not. It's all of our children, of every race, of all genders, both genders. It's all around us. And so awareness is the key. I commend General Paxton for publishing and producing this video, which will raise awareness. I thank the press for being here and paying attention to this issue. And I think together that we can continue to champion the cause to eradicate human trafficking in Texas. You know, we have a big event coming up in Texas and Houston next month called the Super Bowl, and it's going to bring a lot of attention to our area. And I know there are a lot of folks out there working and hoping that we don't embarrass ourselves by having human trafficking going on in our neighborhoods while people are there to enjoy the Super Bowl. So I urge law enforcement and everyone involved to do what they can to make sure that we have a fabulous celebration of the Super Bowl in the city of Houston without human trafficking. So thank you for being here. Thank you for appreciating this cause. And again, thank you, General Paxton and Representative Thompson.